If you do not currently know the grounds upon whose grounds upon you live today, we invite you to follow the link. It'll be in the chat as well. It's a live link. And you can identify the original inhabitants of the land on which you currently live. And then if you would do that and then add into our chat a list of where that is. This is our opportunity to pause and acknowledge the land on which we each reside, the ancestral lands of our Native American brothers and sisters. You simply follow that link in the chat, and then you input your zip code, and then you'll find out whose ancestral lands on which you currently reside. And let's see, it's up to 33. We're very thankful that all of you were able to spend some time with us today. Welcome, welcome. Well, let's move on. Jason? We give thanks for all these many tribal nations, those on which the churchwide office reside, and those that have been listed in our chat. We also recognize and honor all Indigenous siblings who have and continue to call these lands their home. I draw your attention to the availability of Spanish translation during this celebration. Go to the chat to learn how you can access the Spanish translation. I invite Joy Michalacek, our current churchwide president, to bring greetings on behalf of the churchwide organization.
Thanks, Linda. First of all, just to let you know, my microphone is working great, as is my headset, but my video is not working. My camera isn't working, so it's going to tech support on Monday. So please forgive me for that. I'd love to be on screen right now. So thanks again, Linda. On behalf of the women of the ELCA, I'd like to thank you all for coming today and spending time with us. I know for a fact some of you are stealing away from synod assemblies. Others of you are stealing away from swell gatherings and conventions. Shh. And others of you are here for some fellowship and fun. Whatever your motivation is this afternoon, thank you so much for coming. I'd also like to thank everybody that put this launch party together. There are many, many, many of you, and thank you so much for all the work that you have done and continue to do to put this thing together this afternoon. So thank you. So without further ado, Valora, off to you.
Thank you, Joy. And when our organization was much younger and ready to celebrate its 10th anniversary, staff and board members wanted to create a lasting legacy, and so they did. And the Katharina von Bora Luther Endowment Fund was birthed. It quickly became known as shorthand Katie's Fund. And the gifts of the endowment were permanently restricted, and only the earnings of those gifts were available for the purposes of the fund. Now, the fund was to enable resources and programs in 3 areas: leadership development, global connections, and living theology. You might wonder why those 3 areas were selected. And Terry Bowes was the interim executive director at this time. And she recently explained that those planning the Katie's Fund asked themselves, what do Lutheran women really care about? Well, the top 3 answers were, you got it, leadership development, global connections, and living theology. And so those were selected to shape the use of Katie's Fund and still do today. The very first gift to Katie's Fund was made by Janet Brewer, a churchwide board member who then lived in Alaska. So let's hear what Janet has to share about why she made that first gift.
My startup donation to Katie's Fund was given in memory of my mother, since this fund lifted up all my mom's passions and her vision for women in the church. My mother, Irma Connor Conboy, had passed away recently. She was a real encourager of women of all ages as they looked to fulfill what God had planned for them. She loved the mission fields and always had a picture on the refrigerator or a map up at Sunday school that reflected the global connection we have with other women of faith throughout the world. I doubt she knew how many she influenced by encouraging involvement in many areas within the church, and how many of them came to be leaders in their faith community as well as their wider community. Probably what I learned most was that we had to be bold in our living out of our faith, that God is always beside us. Trust in God.
We thank God for Janet and her first gift, for taking a leap of faith and even making that first gift. We thank God for her mother, Irma Connor Conboy, and for her steadfast faith and example. And we thank God for the hundreds of women who have given to Katie's Fund in the 25 years following Janet's first gift. Gifts to Katie's Fund come in all sizes, from $1 to more than $3,000. Gifts have come from individuals, congregational units, and synodical organizations, and we thank God.
So here's what we have planned for our time together today. We're going to learn about some of the life-changing ministries and activities that your gifts to Katie's Fund have made possible. We're going to spend some time sharing and learning about this exciting campaign, 2122. And throughout our time together, we'll be sharing some words from participants like you and me, who understand how important the women of the ELCA is within our lives and the importance of Katie's Fund. Now, before we talk about the many resources and programs that Katie's Fund has made possible in its first 25 years, we're going to invite you to a time of sharing. You'll be assigned randomly to small groups where you are going to be invited to share one of the most memorable experiences you've had in the women of the ELCA. Please make the most of your time so that everybody has a chance to speak. We will bring you back together after about 10 minutes. So I'll see you soon.
Well, welcome back. I can just imagine the rich conversations that you all had with each other. Women of the ELCA has transformed and changed each of us in different ways. And we thank God for this gift of community. Now we're going to hear from women whose lives have been transformed and changed specifically because of Katie's Fund. In 2015, thanks to Katie's Fund, our first two guests were able to travel to the Holy Land with the ELCA Peace Not Walls initiative. You might recognize their names because both have written for Cafe, our electronic magazine.
My name is Cherie Green, and I am a seminarian at the Lutheran School of Theology in Chicago. I was a recipient of a Katie's Fund scholarship to go on a trip to the Holy Land with Peace Not Walls in 2015. And it was actually there that I discerned a call to seminary. I was there with a number of seminarians, and after we had traveled around the Holy Land, we got back to where we were staying, and we were talking about what seminary was. And I was saying how I didn't want to be a pastor, but I was intrigued by the academic study of faith and religion. And it was there that I was told that you didn't have to be a pastor to go to seminary, and I didn't know that. So it opened me up to this experience. And while now I am studying to be a pastor, at the time, that was my entry point. And so I will be forever grateful for those women who sat down to have that conversation with me. And for the women behind Katie's Fund that allowed me to go on that trip, that started me on this journey, at least consciously on this journey. So thank you to the women of the ELCA, and for all of those who's given to the Katie's Fund, for being a part of my journey.
Hi, I'm Ulysses Salinas Lazarski, and I'm a Katie's Fund recipient from 2015 from a trip to the Holy Land. It was incredible. I had just graduated from seminary, unsure of my next steps, and I was able to go with a wonderful group of people, mostly women actually, and experience Bethlehem, Jerusalem, just these places that I never expected to be able to see. I climbed hills and ate more than I thought I could ever. And I have memories that will last me a lifetime. And it couldn't have happened without the Katie's Fund. And I'm so grateful, as now part of that trip inspired me to continue work in theology. And so after getting my master's, I am now working on my PhD in theology myself. So Katie's Fund was life-changing and so nourishing for the woman I am today.
Those are amazing. I'm just in awe. These videos, so that you can watch them again if you'd like and share them with others, plus the next two that you're about to see, are available to watch at welca.org, Katie's Fund. Our next guest currently serves on the church-wide executive board. Elizabeth Burgess was nominated by her synod bishop to participate in a lay leaders seminar sponsored by Lutheran World Federation.
Here we go. I'm Liz Burgess from Augusta, Maine. I worship at Emmanuel Lutheran Episcopal Church and am a member of the church-wide executive board for women of the ELCA. In 2019, I was a recipient of Katie's Fund, which enabled me to travel to Geneva and Wittenberg for the third Lutheran World Federation Lay Leaders Seminar. This seminar changed my life. I met 22 people from 16 different countries. I traveled to Europe by myself, found my way through airport terminals in foreign lands, and navigated the bus system in Geneva. But it is just the biggest impact has been changing my worldview. So I'm much more aware of Lutherans all over the world and issues and what we share and what we have in common. So I give great thanks to the women of the ELCA and Katie's Fund. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Liz. Finally, we hear from a former staff member that many of you may remember, Emma Crossan. Emma coordinated efforts to provide DVDs of two important documentaries to all ELCA resource centers in 2014.
Hi, I'm Emma Crossan, and one of my favorite Katie's Fund stories comes from 2014. At that point, I was on the national staff of Women of the ELCA, and we'd had the triennial gathering that year in Charlotte, North Carolina. One of the cool things that happened at that gathering was we showed two documentary films. One was called Harvest of Empire. It's about the history of Latinx people in the United States. And another film was called I Believe You, and it was about how faith communities responded to intimate partner violence. And we showed these films and we heard great things from the women who attended, just sparked really good conversations and learnings. And we wanted to make that opportunity available to more women in the church. So we got to thinking, well, what if we got copies of these films and we put them in each resource center of each synod? So these sort of like libraries in each synod, and congregations could check them out, pastors, women of the ELCA groups, they could use these resources. So we said, great, let's do that, but how are we going to pay for it? And then we realized, well, we have Katie's Fund. This is a perfect use of Katie's Fund dollars when we think about the mission around leadership development and global connections and living theology. These films were helping to spur this kind of thinking and reflection among those who watch them. So we did that. We used Katie's Fund dollars to buy copies of these documentaries, and we were also supporting the filmmakers. We got them into ELCA resource centers, and they're still there today, for congregations to use across the country. And I love the story because it's an example of how Katie's Fund helped us imagine new possibilities that otherwise might have seemed out of reach.
Another way that Katie's Fund has been used, and somewhat related to what Emma was just speaking about, was to provide small grants to Diva Communications for its work in creating 2 documentaries. One, I Believe You, which looked at the faith response to intimate partner violence, and the other, Brightness of Noon, an interfaith film on immigration, both of which, as mentioned, were screened at triennial gatherings. Katie's Fund also has helped create a Women of the ELCA presence at ELCA youth gatherings, reaching thousands of Lutheran youth and their advisors. The most recent gathering was in 2018 with an emphasis on human trafficking awareness. These are just some of the many resources and activities supported by Katie's Fund for over 25 years. Visit welca.org, Katie's Fund, to learn about additional ways in which Katie's Fund has brought about renewal and transformation in the lives of Lutheran women and girls.
In the last triennium, which thanks to the pandemic turned into a quadrennium, the church-wide executive board spent significant time reviewing and analyzing the financial support of our organization. While regular thank offerings and offerings remain the bedrock of financial support for the church-wide organization, the board felt it essential to look at other means of financial support. A feasibility study was authorized and carried out last summer. The current board, elected during our first online convention last August, received the report of the feasibility study and approved a plan last fall to move forward with a $1 million campaign for Katie's Fund. And here we are today, gathered to celebrate that very campaign. Let me share a little background about the campaign and how it's been assembled. Once the board was given the green light, or gave the green light, my apologies, our executive director, Linda Postruskowski, began working immediately with Rebecca Sundquist, our philanthropic consultant. There's a lot of supporting work that needs to happen in advance of the campaign launch, and Linda and Rebecca have been leading that work. 5 members of the current executive board make up the core team for the campaign. The core team is the brain trust for the campaign. These women have been praying daily for the success of this campaign since they began meeting in February. They've helped with forming the leadership team and in suggesting possible donors to the campaign. They've been writing thank you notes to our early donors. They are ambassadors for the campaign, helping to spread the word and invite others to participate. We thank Joy, Freddie, Liz, Diane, and Lynette for their continued leadership. We have a 12-member leadership team that is responsible for the overall design and execution of this campaign. These women, drawn from across the organization, have been praying daily for the success of the campaign since they began their work in March. They've helped establish the theme, timelines, and organizational structure of the campaign. They've identified potential leadership gift donors. They will participate in donor visits and help in thanking donors. These 12 women are sharing their many gifts with the organization as they've done before, and we so appreciate their guidance and support. Thank you to Deborah, Sid, Andrea, Susan, Laura, Lisa, Becky, Jody, Karen, Rhonda, Myrna, and Joy. The leadership team has shared some thoughts about Katie's Fund, and you've been seeing them today, like this quote from Jody Smiley.
Thank you, Angela. Raising $1 million may seem daunting or even daring, but it is totally achievable. We will raise that money just as we have raised money before for Katie's Fund. Gifts of all sizes from many individuals will be made, and together we will raise the $1 million. I'm excited to share with you today that we already have pledges of $122,540 in hand. Early pledges from members of the core team, the leadership team, the churchwide executive board, staff, and our consultant come together to equal $100,022 and $540. We are well on our way to achieving our goal.
Wow, isn't it exciting to know that we've already raised that much money and we're that much closer to our $1 million goal? So I would like you to participate in this campaign. Begin simply by prayerfully considering what the women of the ELCA mean to you. Refer back to the break rooms that we had just a few moments ago. And then prayerfully consider your stewardship. What type of generous gift are you able to make? Now you can make a one-time gift, or you can do like I did and pledge to make payments over a 3-year period. And these gifts can be made electronically, so it's super convenient. You might want to honor someone or remember someone with your gift. I mean, that's possible too. When we finish up here in just a few minutes, I invite you to go to womenoftheelca.org/Katie's Fund and complete that pledge form online if you're ready now to make that commitment. The core team and the leadership team challenge you to consider a stretch gift, a gift that takes you beyond where you might go otherwise. Gifts of stocks are welcome, as are planned gifts and gifts made through estate planning. If you're considering any of these gifts, please contact Linda Post-Pushkovsky to discuss your plans. Let's return to Janet Brewer, the woman who made the very first gift to Katie's Fund. As you consider how you will participate in this campaign, let's hear Janet's words.
I see Katie's Fund accomplishing so much in so many ways. Katie's Fund is one way to make things happen in a broader scope. It is truly amazing how we can, as a group of women of faith, support our sisters in their quest to see God's plan for them and then act on it. This fund has had an impact on so many, and I can only think how much more effect it will have in the future. I see Katie's Fund carrying on what my mom thought was important: support of other women in their quest, either by prayer, example, or giving.
Now, we promised that there might be a surprise announcement today. Laura Krieger, a member of our leadership team, is here to share some really exciting news.
The women of our organization have been so faithfully supported Katie's Fund during its first 25 years. Since Katie's Fund is designed to support resources and activities, the churchwide executive board and the leadership team are pleased to announce that each of our 64 synodical women's organizations will receive a grant of $1,000 from Katie's Fund to use in a way of their own choosing for a program or ministry that falls into one of the 3 areas supported by Katie's Fund: leadership development, global connection, or living theology. It's key that we keep God's money moving, planting seeds for new ministries that support our mission and purpose. We thought we'd step out in faith, just as Janet Brewer did in 1997 and give each synodical organization some seed money to challenge your thinking about mission today. Checks will be delivered to the synodical organization next month. We expect the grants to be used in the next 12 months, and we look forward to hearing the stories of all the creative ways that these grants have been used. We plan to share these stories in September 2023 when we come together in Phoenix for our next triennial gathering.
Thank you, Laura. Can we just all do some excitement there for the gift of $1,000 to each one of our synodical organizations? That's just going to be a wonderful spark to see what ministry can happen. Well, before we wrap up, we would like to ask everyone here 2 questions, and we're going to do it by polls. So here's the first question. How many times have you given to Katie's Fund over the past 25 years? So take a moment and respond. We have 45 participants. We're getting up close to the 45. I think we're there. So show us the results, Jason. 2% have given over 25 times, 10% up to 25 times, a good portion of 1 to 4. And there are 8 of you who have not yet given to Katie's Fund. Well, we'll be happy to talk to you about that as we move forward. All right, let's take a look at our second question or poll today. Our second question asks you, will you be giving to 2122, growing Katie's Fund for the next 100 years? Yes or no? Well, I think we already know the answers, but Jason, go ahead and show us the response. Fabulous, 100%. That's just excellent. And we're so excited about your continued support. Well, I'm going to close with the words of St. Paul in Corinthians that I'm sure you're all so very familiar with, which is, I always thank God for you because of God's grace given to you in Christ Jesus. And I think we're on to Joy now. Back to Joy.
Thank you, Linda, and thank you everybody for coming this afternoon. Well, there you have it, 2122, Growing Katie's Fund for the next 100 years. We have taken our theme verse from Psalm 145. Generation after generation stands in awe of your work. Each one tells stories of your mighty acts. We've been sharing some wonderful stories today, haven't we? And imagine the wonderful stories that are yet to be told. Today, we've learned how Katie's Fund got started 25 years ago. We've heard about some of the resources and programs made possible through Katie's Fund. We've talked about the impact the women of the ELCA has had on our own lives. We've learned about the 2122 campaign and how we can all participate. Hey, and don't forget that surprise announcement. This summer, each synodical women's organization will receive a $1,000 grant for Katie's Fund. I am so excited that that's going on. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I look forward to hearing what you all have used it for in September of 2023 at Triennial. As we end our time together, we're going to enjoy an inspiring song from Rachel Kurtz. Now let's go in peace to mobilize women to act boldly on their faith in Jesus Christ. Thanks be to God. Take it away, Rachel.
You gave your life to make a difference. You gave your life to make a change. You welcomed all to your table. You're calling us to do the same. I want my life to make a difference. I want my life to make a change. I want my life to do some good here. I want my life to make a change. Working side by side, no outer inside. Together we can make that change. With a few or many, with a lot or not any. Together we can make that change. I want my life to make a difference. I want my life to make a change. I want my life to do some good here. I want my life to make a change. Crossing the great divide, joy and peace will abide.